September 19th, 1944. Musterbusch, Germany. The dawn broke cold over the German village, and Lafayette, War Daddy Poole, knew this would be his last day of war. Not through premonition or soldier's intuition, but because his orders said so. After 3 months of leading every attack, after destroying more enemy vehicles than any American tanker in history, after surviving the impossible, Poole was going home. One more mission: stay safe, stay alive. But in the turret of his 3rd Sherman tank, the 3rd to bear the name In the Mood, Poole understood what his superiors didn't. There was no such thing as a safe day in tank warfare. Behind him lay 83 days of unbroken combat. Ahead lay the battle that would cement his legend and cost him everything. The farm boy who became a fighter, July 23, 1919, Odom, Texas. Lafayette Green Poole entered the world 5 minutes after his twin brother in the scorching heat of South Texas. The coastal plains where he grew up offered little mercy, temperatures exceeding 100 degrees, rain that never came when needed, soil that fought back against every plow. Life on the Poole family farm demanded toughness. John McKinley Poole and Marion Lee Ruth Poole raised their children, Lafayette, his twin, John Thomas, and sister Tenny May, to understand that survival meant hard work and harder choices. No electricity, hand-pumped water, entertainment measured in battery-powered radio programs and Sunday church gatherings. Young Lafayette, called Lafe by those who knew him, showed early signs of exceptional ability. At Taft High School, he dominated on the football field with speed and competitive fire that left opponents stunned. But his gifts extended beyond athletics. Poole possessed a sharp, analytical mind that devoured challenges. After graduating in 1937, Poole enrolled at Corpus Christi College Academy, an elite Catholic preparatory school where weak students were crushed under rigorous academic standards. Poole didn't just survive, he thrived. He graduated as class valedictorian in 1938, then moved to Texas College of Arts and Industries to study engineering. But Poole's true education came in the boxing ring. Competing at 165 pounds, Poole discovered his nature. Boxing demanded what he naturally possessed: aggression, strategic thinking, mental toughness, the ability to absorb punishment and strike back harder. His record spoke for itself: 41 wins, 0 defeats. He captured the sectional Golden Gloves Championship in New Orleans and earned an invitation to the national finals. Poole declined. Engineering called to him more than professional fighting, but the lessons of the ring, strike first, strike hard, never retreat, would define everything that followed. The decision that changed everything, June 14, 1941. Fort Sam Houston, Texas. 6 months before Pearl Harbor forced America's hand, 21-year-old Lafayette Poole walked into a recruitment office and enlisted in the United States Army. At 6'2" and 175 pounds, with the conditioning of an athlete and the discipline of a scholar, Poole made an unusual choice. He could have waited for the draft, finished his engineering degree, pursued a safer path. Instead, he chose war. The newly activated 3rd Armored Division at Camp Beauregard, Louisiana, became Poole's introduction to mechanized warfare. Activated just 2 months before Poole's enlistment, the division would earn the nickname Spearhead for its role in piercing German defenses from Normandy to the heart of Germany. Poole was assigned to Company 1, 3rd Battalion, 32nd Armored Regiment, a unit that would forge the deadliest tank crew in American military history. Training proved brutal. The Louisiana swamps and forests became classrooms where soldiers learned to operate, maintain, and fight from 33-ton steel machines. Poole absorbed everything: gunnery procedures, radio protocols, German tactics and equipment. He studied terrain like a chess master, identifying firing positions and concealment before other commanders saw anything but trees. Officers noticed immediately that Poole was different. During exercises, his tank consistently scored highest in gunnery. During tactical problems, Poole demonstrated intuitive understanding that exceeded what instructors could teach. He read battlefields like others read books. Most importantly, Poole led. When offered a commission as an officer, Poole refused. Officers commanded from headquarters, coordinating operations from maps and radios. Poole wanted to fight from a tank, to see the enemy with his own eyes, to make split-second tactical decisions that couldn't be made from command posts. That choice defined his destiny. Poole hand-selected each crew member, building a team whose skills complemented his aggressive philosophy. Corporal Wilbert Richards, Baby, the 5'4" driver who could maneuver a Sherman through impossible spaces with precision that defied the tank's size. Poole claimed Baby could parallel park downtown in rush-hour traffic. Private First Class Bertrand Close, schoolboy, the 17-year-old assistant driver and bow gunner from Portland whose wire-rimmed glasses and smooth face made him look harmless. He was anything but. Close's .30 caliber machine gun cut down enemy infantry with surgical precision. Corporal Willis Aller, Groundhog, the 29-year-old gunner from Illinois, whose calm temperament balanced Poole's intensity. Aller kept his eye pressed to the gun sight constantly, claiming he wanted to see all of France through his sights. His perfectly placed shots would destroy German tank after German tank. Technician 5th grade Delbert Boggs, Jailbird, the loader from Lancaster, Ohio, whose nickname came from crew lore that he'd chosen military service over prison time for manslaughter charges. Whether true or embellished, the story captured Boggs's toughness. Loading 25-pound shells through hours of combat required both physical strength and mental resilience. Together, they called themselves the Pups. They called Poole War Daddy. The nickname captured both affection and respect for the man who would lead them into hell and somehow bring them out alive. Poole's training philosophy was simple: perfection or death. He drove his crew through endless drills until loading, aiming, and firing became as natural as breathing. Every second saved meant firing first. Every round that hit meant one less enemy tank shooting back. In combat, those seconds would mean everything. July 4th, 1944, Liverpool, England. One event before the invasion showed Poole who he really was. Joe Louis, the brown bomber, heavyweight champion of the world, toured England putting on exhibition matches for troops. Few soldiers wanted to face the greatest heavyweight in history, even in friendly sparring. Poole volunteered. The exhibition was supposed to be light sparring, entertainment for the troops. Poole had other ideas. His competitive nature took over. He went after Louis aggressively, landing several solid blows. Louis responded by putting his arm around Poole and saying quietly, "White man, I'm going to teach you a big lesson." The lesson came swiftly. Louis demonstrated the vast gulf between amateur and professional boxing without actually hurting Poole. He could have knocked Poole unconscious at any moment. Instead, he chose education. Poole later admitted Louis turned me every way but loose. But Poole walked away with something more valuable than victory. He learned that overwhelming power could be overcome with the right tactics, the right timing, the right shot. Aggression alone wasn't enough. Skill, timing, and tactical intelligence mattered. The lessons would save his life on the battlefield. June 24, 1944. Omaha Beach, Normandy, the 3rd Armored Division came ashore 18 days after D-Day in steady rain that transformed the beach into organized chaos. Destroyed landing craft littered the surf. German fortifications pockmarked the cliffs. Supply dumps covered every available space. Poole's first Sherman, an M4A1 with a 75mm gun, ground up the beach without incident. The waterproofing held. The engine roared to life. Poole and his crew were in France, and the war they'd trained 3 years for was about to begin. Poole had the words "In the Mood" painted on the hull in white block letters, inspired by Glenn Miller's swing hit. The name captured Poole's approach to combat: aggressive, confident, unstoppable. June 29, 1944. Villers-Fossard. The first taste of combat came with orders to reduce a German salient northeast of St. Lo. The mission introduced Poole to Normandy's greatest tactical challenge, the hedgerows. Built up over centuries, these earthen walls topped with dense vegetation turned every field into a fortress. German infantry and anti-tank guns hid behind them, invisible until American tanks came within point-blank range. Early American attacks had been catastrophic disasters. American engineers found the solution, cutting steel beams from German beach obstacles and welding them to Sherman fronts, creating rhino tanks that could smash through hedgerows without climbing over them. At 0900 hours, Poole's platoon moved forward with Task Force Y. Artillery hammered German positions for 30 minutes. Then came the order to advance. Poole's first kills came quickly. A German half-track appeared through a gap in the hedgerows. Poole gave the fire command. Oehler sent a 75mm high-explosive round downrange. The vehicle exploded in flames. 3 vehicles destroyed. Over 70 enemy soldiers killed. Poole's crew had lasted exactly 5 days. Then came the moment every tank crew feared. Advancing through the village of Le Désert, a German soldier with a Panzerfaust stepped from a doorway and fired from 50 yards. The shaped charge warhead slammed into In the Mood's side armor, punching through with a jet of superheated metal. "Bail out!" All 5 crew members scrambled clear before ammunition could cook off. They'd survived their first tank loss with no casualties. In the Mood, the first Sherman to bear that name, was destroyed after 5 days of combat. The second Sherman, upgraded and unstoppable July 1, 1944. Poole's replacement tank represented a quantum leap in capability, an M4A1 with the new 76mm gun. The W designation meant wet stowage, a safety feature that dramatically reduced the risk of catastrophic fire when penetrated. The 76mm gun could penetrate Panther side armor at 2,000 yards. Against German Mark IVs, it was effective at even longer ranges. For Poole's aggressive close-range tactics, the improved anti-armor capability was invaluable. Poole immediately had In the Mood painted on the new hull. The tradition continued. Over the next 6 weeks, Poole would write the most remarkable chapter in American tank warfare history. The hedgerow fighting tested every skill Poole possessed. The battle rhythm was brutally simple. Advance to hedgerow, take fire, call artillery, assault through, clear the field, advance to next hedgerow, repeat. German 75mm and 88mm anti-tank guns lurked behind every wall. Panzerfaust teams infiltrated close to American positions at night. Casualty rates for tank crews were staggering. But Poole developed a sixth sense for reading terrain. He learned to recognize telltale signs of defensive preparation, subtle disturbances in foliage, optimal firing positions an experienced enemy would naturally choose. This ability to think like the enemy gave Poole a crucial edge. One evening, near La Mesnil-Herman, Poole was about to halt for the night when a shape materialized 50 feet ahead, a German 40mm anti-aircraft gun, its crew unaware of the Sherman's presence. Poole's response was pure instinct. "Gunner, fire!" Oller's eye was already pressed to the sight. The 76mm gun roared. The round struck the German position instantly, destroying the gun and killing the crew. The entire engagement, from Poole spotting the target to round impact, took 3 seconds. Another night near Colombières. Poole almost collided with a German Panther tank at 30 yards. The Panther was Germany's most feared armored vehicle. Its 75mm gun could penetrate Sherman frontal armor at over 2,000 yards. Its frontal armor was nearly impenetrable to the Sherman's 76mm gun, except at very close range. On paper, the Panther was superior in every category. Both commanders spotted each other simultaneously. Both gave fire commands. The Panther got off 2 shots. Darkness and surprise caused both to miss, one passing over Poole's turret, the other ricocheting off the ground. Oller's reply went true. A single 76mm armor-piercing round at point-blank range penetrated the Panther's turret ring. The German tank erupted in flames. The engagement lasted 10 seconds. Poole had proven that German supertanks could be killed. Aggressive tactics, superior crew training, and faster reactions could overcome technical inferiority. News of Poole's Panther kill spread through the division. Morale surged. Poole's example inspired other commanders to fight more aggressively. Operation Cobra, breaking out July 26, 1944. Over 1,500 American heavy bombers dropped nearly 4,000 tons of bombs on German positions south of St. Lo. The bombardment pulverized German defenses, creating a gap for American armor to exploit. The 3rd Armored Division led the breakout on July 29th. After weeks of grinding hedgerow combat measuring progress in hundreds of yards per day, the division suddenly found itself racing through open country at 20-30 mph. Poole's tank spearheaded attack after attack. The spearhead position was simultaneously honor and death sentence, first to encounter resistance, first to be engaged by anti-tank guns, first to hit mines or ambushes. Poole volunteered for the role repeatedly. His crew never questioned his decisions. They trusted War Daddy completely. At Dyson, Belgium, near Liège, Poole distinguished himself while leading a platoon of 5 tanks. German half-tracks attempting to escape the encirclement stumbled into his column. Poole turned to engage while ordering his column to continue. He destroyed 6 enemy vehicles in rapid succession. Then word came that a German Panther had appeared ahead, engaging the American column. 2 Shermans were already burning. Poole ordered Richards to return at maximum speed. The Sherman raced down the road at 25 mph, faster than safe, but every second counted. Poole spotted the Panther engaging from a hull-down position, focused forward on targets to the front. The German commander hadn't spotted Poole's approach from the flank. Poole recognized the opportunity immediately. "Gunner, Sabot, Panther left flank!" Oller traversed smoothly, placing his crosshairs on the Panther's side armor below the turret ring. "On the way!" The armor-piercing projectile struck and penetrated cleanly. The German tank shuddered. Smoke poured from hatches. Flames appeared. Only 1 crew member escaped before ammunition detonated catastrophically, blowing the turret off the hull. Poole had destroyed his 2nd Panther through superior tactics rather than superior firepower. The Falaise Gap, destroying the German army, August 7, 1944. Allied forces attempted to encircle and destroy the German 7th Army and 5th Panzer Army near Falaise. Success would destroy primary German forces in Normandy, opening the way for rapid advance across France. Poole led Task Force Y during the closing of the pocket. Fighting was chaotic and desperate. German units attempted to break out. Other German units outside the pocket attempted to break in. As Poole's column advanced, they encountered German soldiers fleeing on foot. Poole's voice came over Lieutenant Colonel Richardson's radio. "Ain't got the heart to kill 'em." Immediately following came the sound of Close's bow machine gun opening fire. Poole's voice again. "Watch the bastards run! Give it to them, Close!" The humanitarian impulse lasted only a moment. German soldiers allowed to escape would be rearmed and returned to combat. More Americans would die fighting them later. Poole's job was destroying enemy capacity to resist. He executed that mission without hesitation. Distinguished Service Cross, August 29th to 31st, 1944. Over 3 days, advancing often alone or with minimal support, Poole's crew engaged and destroyed 4 German tanks, 3 anti-tank guns, approximately 50 unarmored vehicles, and killed overwhelming numbers of enemy personnel. The citation noted Poole's unflinching courage and inspired leadership in the face of devastating hostile fire. His extraordinary heroism, personal bravery, and zealous devotion to duty exemplified the highest traditions of the military forces. Every anti-tank gun Poole destroyed had gotten off at least 1 shot before he killed it. Every German tank was theoretically capable of destroying his Sherman first. Poole survived through skill, aggression, and extraordinary luck. Many who witnessed believed Poole deserved the Medal of Honor. The Distinguished Service Cross recognized his actions, though controversy over the award would follow him for decades. August 17th, 1944. Frome, France. Friendly fire. The second in the mood died not from German fire, but from American P-38 Lightnings. The fighter bombers appeared overhead hunting for German armor. From several thousand feet, all tanks looked similar. The P-38 pilots saw tanks advancing through a French village and assumed they were German. Poole saw the aircraft diving and grabbed the radio, frantically calling to identify his unit as friendly. Too late. The P-38s were committed. Rockets streaked down toward In the Mood, trailing smoke. Explosions erupted across the tank. "Abandon vehicle!" The crew bailed out with practiced efficiency, scrambling clear seconds before ammunition began cooking off. All 5 men escaped. The second Sherman bearing In the Mood was destroyed. Poole and his crew had survived 2 complete tank losses. The odds of surviving even one were poor. Surviving 2 seemed miraculous. Within days, Poole received his 3rd Sherman. Once again, In the Mood was painted on the hull. The name had become legendary throughout the 3rd Armored Division, belonging to the crew that led every attack, destroyed more enemy vehicles than any other, and seemed to bear a charmed life. September 1944, the race to Germany. The 3rd Armored Division advanced rapidly across France and Belgium, pursuing retreating German forces toward the Siegfried Line, Germany's western defensive fortifications. Poole's tank continued leading attacks. His crew's tally climbed steadily, over 250 enemy vehicles destroyed, including at least 12 confirmed tank kills, over 1,000 German soldiers killed, approximately 250 prisoners captured. Poole's reputation had grown to legendary status. Other commanders studied his tactics. Infantry units requested Poole's tank for support during difficult attacks. Division headquarters recognized Poole's value both as combat leader and inspiration to other tankers, but they also recognized that Poole's aggressive tactics and constant exposure made his survival increasingly unlikely. The law of averages suggested even the best tankers' luck would eventually run out. In mid-September, division headquarters made a decision. Poole and his crew would be sent home for a war bonds tour. They'd earned the respite. Their story would inspire Americans at home. Orders were cut. Poole would complete one final mission. Then he'd be withdrawn from front lines and sent home. September 19th, 1944, Musterbusch, Germany, the final battle. The mission was simple: support other units conducting the main attack toward Aachen. Do not spearhead. Stay on the flank. Stay safe. Poole understood the orders, but 3 months of combat had taught him that no position in tank battle was truly safe. The attack began at first light. American tanks advanced in coordinated assault. German resistance was immediate and fierce. Every yard toward Aachen would be contested. Poole's tank moved forward on the flank as ordered. The crew worked with efficiency born of 3 months of combat. But Willis Oller was not in the tank that morning. He'd been temporarily transferred back to the United States. In Oller's place was Private First Class Paul Kenneth King, a 20-year-old gunner from Anderson County, Tennessee. Experienced and capable, but lacking Oller's 3 months of combat experience with Poole's crew. Poole's tank reached a street intersection in Musterbusch. The position offered good fields of fire. For a brief moment the situation seemed under control. Then disaster struck with sudden violence. A German Panther, concealed in a protected position, opened fire on American armor. The Panther's commander had positioned carefully, waiting for American Shermans to enter his killing zone. He had identified Poole's tank as a priority target. The Panther's 75mm gun fired twice in rapid succession. Both rounds aimed with deadly precision. The first armor-piercing round struck the Sherman's turret, penetrating and exploding inside the crew compartment. The second hit almost simultaneously, causing catastrophic damage. The explosions killed Private First Class Paul Kenneth King instantly. The young replacement gunner, filling in for Oller, died in the flash of superheated metal. Poole, standing in the commander's position, was struck by shrapnel. Metal fragments tore into his right leg. The concussion stunned him, but survival instinct drove him to give the order, "Bail out!" Richards and Close exited through hull hatches. Boggs squeezed through the loader's hatch. Poole attempted to climb out through the commander's hatch, but his shattered leg wouldn't support his weight. Then the Sherman tipped forward into a shell crater, throwing Poole partially out, but also trapping him against the hatch rim. His crew turned back despite the danger. They pulled Poole free and dragged him away as ammunition began cooking off. Poole was conscious, but in shock. His right leg was mangled beyond repair. Blood loss was severe. Medics arrived within minutes, stabilizing Poole for evacuation. The crew watched as War Daddy was loaded onto a jeep and driven toward a field hospital. They had survived 3 tank losses together. They had fought through 83 days of continuous combat. They had destroyed 258 enemy vehicles and killed over 1,000 German soldiers. But Paul Kenneth King was dead, and War Daddy's war was over. The price of glory Poole was evacuated through the medical system. The damage to his right leg was too severe to repair. Surgeons amputated 8 inches above the knee. The recovery was long and painful, multiple surgeries, infections fought, learning to walk again with a prosthetic leg. But Poole was alive. The final statistics were unprecedented. 258 enemy vehicles destroyed in 83 days of combat, 12 confirmed tank kills, over 1,000 German soldiers killed or wounded, approximately 250 prisoners captured, 21 major attacks led. Poole survived 3 complete tank losses. His crew survived with him through the first 2, but Paul Kenneth King paid the ultimate price in the final battle. Poole was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross, Legion of Merit, Silver Star, Purple Heart, and Belgian Fourragère. Years later, France awarded the Legion of Honor with the grade of Chevalier. Poole was twice nominated for the Medal of Honor. Both nominations were rejected. The official rationale stated that tanks were crew-served weapons and therefore individual heroism in tank combat did not merit the Medal of Honor. Many who served with Poole believed the rejection was grave injustice. Poole's actions over 83 days demonstrated heroism exceeding Medal of Honor standards. But the decision stood. After the war, a life continued. After recovering, Poole faced a choice. He could accept medical discharge and return to Texas. Many would have made that choice. But Poole loved the Army. The military had become his life, his identity. Poole re-enlisted in July 1948, choosing to remain despite his disability. The Army recognized his value, assigning him to positions where his experience could benefit the next generation of tankers. Poole served in various training and advisory roles, passing combat lessons to soldiers who would fight in future conflicts. Poole retired on September 19, 1960, exactly 16 years after his final battle. The coincidence seemed appropriate. He retired as Chief Warrant Officer 2, having served 19 years total from June 1941 to September 1960. In retirement, Poole settled in Killeen, Texas, near Fort Hood. He remained connected to the military community, attending 3rd Armored Division reunions and occasionally speaking to military audiences. He was a devoted family man, raising 8 children with his wife Evelyn, 4 sons and 4 daughters. The marriage begun during brief 1942 leave endured through war, wounds, and challenges of military life. But tragedy struck in a way that echoed Poole's own combat service. His son, Captain Jerry Lynn Poole Sr., followed his father into military service, becoming an Army Special Forces officer. Captain Poole served in Vietnam with May C.V. Sog, conducting some of the war's most dangerous missions. On March 24, 1970, Captain Poole's helicopter was hit by enemy fire while operating in Cambodia. The aircraft exploded and crashed, killing all 7 soldiers aboard. Captain Poole was 29 years old. His body remained in Cambodia, listed as missing in action for over 25 years. On June 20, 2001, more than 31 years after his death, remains were positively identified as Captain Jerry Lynn Poole Sr. He was buried with full military honors at Arlington National Cemetery. For Lafayette Poole, the loss of his son to war was devastating. He understood better than most the nature of military service. But understanding didn't lessen the pain of losing a child. Lafayette Green Poole died May 30, 1991, in Killeen, Texas. He was 71 years old, having lived nearly 47 years after his wounding at Musterbusch. He was buried with military honors, recognized as one of America's greatest tank commanders. Legacy of War Daddy. In 1993, Fort Knox dedicated the Tank Driver Training Simulator Hall in Poole's honor, the SSG Lafayette G. Poole Room. Every tanker trained at Fort Knox would learn War Daddy's story. Poole's story reached wider audiences in 2014 with the film Fury, starring Brad Pitt. The main character, War Daddy, was explicitly patterned after Lafayette Poole. While Hollywood took dramatic license, the film captured Poole's aggressive leadership and tactical philosophy. Poole's combat record remains unmatched in American military history. No other American tank commander has approached his tally of 258 enemy vehicles destroyed in 83 days. The secret to Poole's success lay not in superior equipment, but in fundamental principles of armored warfare. Aggressive maneuver to close range where German technical advantages became irrelevant. Superior crew training that allowed faster target acquisition and more accurate shooting. Absolute refusal to retreat, forcing German crews to fight at close range where American advantages mattered. willingness to lead from the front, inspiring subordinates and denying enemies time to establish defensive positions. These principles, proven in Normandy, hedgerows, and French plains, became foundational doctrine for American armored forces. But Poole's most important legacy is simpler and more personal. He proved that an ordinary American, a farm boy from Texas with no special advantages, could, through courage, skill, and determination, become extraordinary. He demonstrated that leadership emerges from character and action, not birth or rank. He showed that in combat's ultimate test, what matters is not the weapon you carry, but the courage you possess and the training you've mastered. The final truth. Lafayette Poole's story is about transformation, from Texas farm boy to warrior who would lead from the front and fight with unmatched aggression. It's about the bond between crew members who trusted each other with their lives and fought as one unit through months of unrelenting combat. It's about war's cost, measured in legs lost, lives ended, families forever changed. It's about an America that could forge farm boys and college students into the military force that defeated fascism and preserved democracy. Poole's 258 destroyed vehicles, his 12 confirmed tank kills, his 1,000 enemy soldiers killed. These numbers tell part of his story, but the complete story includes his refusal to accept a commission so he could fight from a tank, his devotion to his crew, and their absolute trust in his leadership, his survival through 3 tank losses, his determination to continue fighting after each one, his decision to re-enlist despite his disability, his influence on generations of American tankers, the loss of his son to war, his death in 1991 having witnessed America's Cold War victory. The complete story is about a life defined by service, sacrifice, and leadership. Lafayette Green Poole, Staff Sergeant, United States Army, Chief Warrant Officer, 2, retired, holder of the Distinguished Service Cross, Legion of Merit, Silver Star, Purple Heart, Belgian Fourragère, and French Legion of Honor, destroyer of 258 enemy vehicles in 83 days of combat, America's deadliest tank commander, war daddy to his crew and legend to the army he served. He died May 30th, 1991, in Killeen, Texas, at age 71. He left behind his wife Evelyn, 8 children, and a military legacy that endures as long as armies study armored warfare. His story represents the best of American military tradition: courage in combat, devotion to duty, leadership by example, sacrifice for country. War Daddy's war may have ended on September 19, 1944, but his legacy remains eternal.